Welcome into Rounding the Bases.
Rounding the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg. It's around the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of Rounding the Bases, presented with Joel Goldberg. I am, as always, Joel Goldberg. I guess it'd be weird if there was somebody else doing it, but could always have somebody fill in. Maybe that's an idea. I'll take a little break and have someone fill in. But I love doing this every single week, and certainly grateful to my friends at Community America Credit Union invested in you, as well as the partnership that I have over at Chief of Staff Kansas City. It doesn't matter whether you're in Kansas City, you're around the country. If you are looking for a job, if you are looking to hire someone, if you're looking just for a good resource, they're great people. They get culture. chiefofstaffkc.com, making connections that matter. My connections are everything to me. My guest today was introduced to me by Dave Sider, and Dave's one of the better connectors that I've met that says, you know what, I want to bring people together that should be connected. And that's been the case for my guest today. And one of the reasons why I'm really interested in sharing this interview and my guest with you today is, I like to say this a lot, that when you can sit down and have a conversation with someone that's very enlightening and engaging, and then have the feeling, at least in my world, that we can share that with everyone else and people can learn from it just as I learn from it, then those are the conversations I want to share on this podcast. They're usually less about the industry, meaning that you could plug this person into any industry and learn from them based on the way they run things, based on their culture. And that's certainly the case today. My guest comes to us from the cutting edge of precision food manufacturing. Get that? You will in a minute. Literally. His name is Jarrod McCarroll, CEO of Weber Inc., the global leader in high-tech slicing innovation that revolutionized in-store sandwich construction. Since taking the reins in 2014, he has remained committed to delivering perfect portions of strategic vision and hands-on leadership, raising the bar on a new tradition of excellence that optimizes the way modern food is prepared while honoring the quality that built the business. In the simplest terms, you know, those big slicers cutting up meat, a lot of the products that you eat, you might see them, by the way, getting a snack at somewhere as simple as Starbucks. All of that is coming from Weber, not the grill company. That's usually, I feel like that is Jarrod's opening line to everybody. We're not the ones that make the grills, but they are involved in a lot of what you have. Jarrod, good to see you. How are you?
I'm great, Joel. Thanks for having me on. And you're exactly right. We're not the grill company, although we have a passion for food.
Yeah, you do. And
we're that in common.
I think that's almost on your business card. We're not the grill company. Not that there's anything wrong with the grill company, but you got to differentiate, because everybody knows who the grill company is, but nobody knows who you are, in part by design, right? If they don't know who you are, then your machines and your technology are going right, but they know who all of your clients are. And to me, and I'll just let everybody know too, that I went over, and Weber is based here in Kansas City. Well, I guess the official headquarters are over in Germany, but the I guess, would it be the right way to say it? The American headquarters,
North American
right
headquarters,
out of Kansas City, and I took an amazing tour of the facility that Jarrod led me on, and it is one of those things that I wish everybody could see, because you really got a feel for what they do and what matters and the culture. But what I really enjoyed the most was you and I sitting down and sort of getting lost in a conversation about culture and leadership that went well beyond whatever time we had allotted, which is why I wanted to have you on to share these conversations, because I think culture is everything where you're at. Let's start with that, and then I'll backtrack to how you got to where you're at. But
sure.
What does culture mean to Weber? What is the Weber culture?
You know, it for us, we really, Weber, it's about family, and we look at our customers as a part of our family, and we think about that perfect portion. You mentioned it in your opening. Thank you for that. That's really kind of our North Star. We spent a lot of time several years ago trying to quantify and trying to distill it down into, you know, what's this one thing that we can be the best in the world at, that is truly our passion, and where our economic engine meets that passion, and what our best in the world capabilities are. And I'm stealing something from one of my favorite authors, Jim Collins. He wrote about the hedgehog principle. And I've got my little guy here, my little hedgehog. I keep him there every day to remind me, stay focused on that one thing that you can really make an impact on. And we call that our perfect portion. And that's real simple. It's thinking about what makes our customers successful and aligning our business around that, and realizing that they're all different and they have different needs and they make different products and have different plants and all these things. But if we take the time to understand them and what makes them successful and what they need to accomplish, and then create a solution around that, not just equipment, but support and longevity and planning that helps them reach their goals, and something that we can measure and that's quantifiable, man, everybody has a lot more fun doing that. And we can measure successes together and celebrate together. And so that's what we talk about here. And we just really stay focused on doing the right thing and trying to keep it as simple as possible in the complex world that we operate in. But that's it. And we have a lot of fun here. We celebrate each other and make our customers really a part of our family. And I think they really enjoy coming to visit us as well.
And making the family an important part as well. I mean, you guys are in an industry that is very much needed by a lot of people, but on the surface, if that's all it was, it's just about a paycheck, right? And of course, I always like to say, look, it's always going to be about the paycheck, whether we want to admit that or not. But what else? Because if it's only about the paycheck, then that's all it's about.
Yeah.
But when it's about family, when it's about taking care of people, when there's a deeper purpose to it, and I believe you can find a deeper purpose in anything, and whether that be in something beyond the wins and losses of baseball and entertainment, or whether that be in these slicing machines and this technology, which, by the way, I mean, I don't think most of us think about that. We just pick up our products, and as long as it tastes good and it stays fresh, we're good, right? And if it doesn't stay fresh, then we're mad at someone.
Right.
Well, that someone we're mad at is probably someone that is using your equipment. I mean, there's a long line here. And so when I've got to think that when your clients, those that you're serving, and we're talking about some big time companies here, when they're happy, or when their clients are happy, their customers are happy, they're happy. And when you are on and on and on, right? And so how are you able to share that message with your people? Because I think it's every bit of who they are. And I know that doesn't happen overnight or by accident.
You know, it's interesting. A couple things there. We are a family-owned company based out of Germany. And our CEO and owner, his name's Tobias Weber. Just an absolutely incredible human being, great guy. His father started the company back in the very early 80s, 81. Tobias is second generation. And, you know, the rub on second generation is, you know, maybe they inherited from their parents or their whatever, and maybe not doing a great job. That's not the case here at all. Tobias has taken us to new heights, and his vision and just the way he cares about us as his people, as his company, as his family. It's an incredible company to be a part of. And the way he thinks about our customers is the same way, to the extent that he drafted the mission statement a couple of years ago, and it says to be a market-focused, data-driven company that loves our customers like family and creating food solutions to feed the world. And I think about that and I'm like, man, that is pretty prophetic in what we do. And so back to your other question on, you know, how do we keep that focus on taking care of families and doing this? Ultimately, we're the judge and jury and executioner of what we do in our business, because we're the end consumer. Whether we're eating a sandwich from a Subway or somewhere, or we're buying, you know, a pound of bacon at the grocery store, or a package of sliced cheese, or some, you know, shaved fluff deli meat to make a sandwich. We ultimately are the ones who decide what is going to be consumed, and we vote with our wallets on what we spend our money on. And if it's not safe, or has a good flavor profile or these types of things. We ultimately are the critique back to the folks that are making it. And so we get to make sure that we're ensuring that supply chain, and playing a role in and ultimately our own decision making. So it's kind of a full circle thing for us when we think about it.
Because ultimately, and I don't want to name, say, a competitor of a client or something like that. Give me one of your big name clients that people will recognize.
Sure. Tyson,
Okay.
Hormel, Smithfield, Sargento.
Yep.
So those are some of the big guys out there. And then, of course, if you go to a Walmart or a Costco or anybody in there, they have their own brands, the Kirkland brand and the Great Value and those types of brands, and those are co-packed in some of our big customers that are producing that product for the grocery stores and the retailers that aren't necessarily a branded product. So we really touch a lot of the prepared foods that are sliced and packaged or pre-made ready meals and things like that for consumption.
Yeah. And so, okay, let's take me as a consumer. I go to the grocery store and I go over to Price Chopper and I buy some Sargento cheese.
Yeah,
And for some reason, that cheese, which probably came from up in Wisconsin,
you bet it did.
and of course it did. And it's gone bad. I open up that packaging and there's, some colors on that that's going to make
Older,
you feel
yeah.
happy, and you're going to bring it back to Price Chopper. And,
Yep.
and well, okay. Am I mad at Price Chopper? Maybe. Am I mad at Sargento? Maybe. It happens again. I'm probably going to find a different brand. And whether that was you guys or not, you're part of the deal right now, right?
Yeah.
And they need to know that among the many things that they're worried about, that packaging is not going to be one of them. And
Right.
so as long as you take care of your people, everything's going to be okay. That's easier said than done because the world is constantly changing. The technology is changing in the same way that we're all trying to, or should be trying to, keep up with AI and the latest this and the latest that. You can't get passed by. You need to be the leaders in everything you're doing. And oh, by the way, we'll use some baseball analogies here. As you just get that brush back and get knocked off the plate, the next pitch that's coming is a curveball, and you've got to figure out how to hit it, i.e. tariffs or pandemic or whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
That's your role. That may not be all of your people's role, some of them, right? But they've got to keep doing what they're doing. And you as a leader need to make sure in your leadership team that they are able to continue doing what you're doing so that the Sargentos and the Hormels and everyone can continue to say, we know that among this changing world that we don't need to worry about what Weber is doing. What are the challenges right now? And I feel like I told you this beforehand, that we have been programmed to make everything political, which I think is a total waste of time. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be talked about. I'm saying that whether you're on one side or another of an argument, you still have to do everything that I just mentioned. So what are the challenges of navigating right now tariffs, which I understand that if anyone is listening to this a year later or 2 years later, you're going to say, oh yeah, I remember that. We're on to something else right now. What are your challenges?
Yeah. So let me back up real quick, because we talked just for a second about Sargento and when you have a product that's gone bad or something like that. I will say that our food supply chain is literally the best in the world from food safety. And every now and then something like that will happen. But the links that the processors go to secure our food supply is incredible. World-class, world-leading. We make safe food here. Every now and then there might be a package or something that has some spoilage, and that will get dealt with. And hopefully no one got sick. But they take great strides to prevent that. And if anyone would ever have a chance to take a walk through a food plant, I would recommend them, because you will have the utmost respect and confidence and trust in our supply chain and our food supply chain. Our customers just do an incredible job.
By the way, just real quick to interrupt, walking through your facility, I felt like, this is just my observation, I felt like I could have eaten anything off the floor. Anyway,
You bet.
I mean, it
Thank
was like
you.
spick and span.
Yeah, our 6 facilities in Germany are even cleaner where we manufacture our products. It's unbelievable. But if you're going to operate in that space, you better look like it, right? And you better pay attention to the details, because food safety is real. And so it starts with our people understanding that that is very important to our customers. And so we design all of our equipment with hygienic design, follow the 10 principles of sanitation that the Meat Institute has set out years ago. But our team is also skilled and trained and qualified to pay attention to that in the plant, and train to that, and train on sanitation and cleaning processes, and to ensure that value stream and food supply is safe. But that means our people have to understand it. And when there is a problem, when a customer has a machine that might be down for some reason, maybe they had most of our equipment operates in a wet and cold environment, because bacteria doesn't grow in wet and cold, or in cold primarily. Wet's for washing it down and keeping it clean. But when an electronic part goes bad or something like that, and the customer's having trouble, we've got to be reactive. We've got to support them and take care of them, because that's part of that whole promise, right? They have to continue to produce because of the demand. And so we have to be responsive, and we have to be there for them, and we have to be reliable. So they have to know as a partner that no matter what, they can count on us. No matter when you take one in the, inside and backs you off the plate and get a little chin music and it rattles your cage a little bit, or Randy Johnson throws one over your head, you turn your hat around backwards and you bat left-handed if you're a switch hitter, like Walker did years ago. Yep. You gotta take those pitches, but you gotta get back in, and you gotta dig right back in and be right there for your partner. And that, I think that's in any business. Mm-hmm. Which brings us to, we're talking about these topical things today, and you mentioned tariffs and the headwinds that we're seeing today. We're a German manufacturing company that's headquartered here in the United States to serve North America, but we have 24 daughter companies around the world, but we're facing these headwinds of tariffs. 5 years ago, it was a different headwind. It was COVID, right? And so if it's topical today, you said in 2 years, you're going to say, oh yeah, I remember that. Well, we have to improvise and adapt. We have to face the challenges, whatever it might be. Whether the guy's throwing a 108 mile an hour fastball, Strasburg that was throwing those a few years back. I think we're playing the Nationals right now. We beat them yesterday, so there you go. But we just have to approach that head on. And I was just on a call prior to hopping on with you, Joel, and with a really big customer of ours that called me, and we actually have some equipment on the water right now. It takes about a month to get them over here when we ship product from Germany to the United States. Our equipment, they're big. They're not the slicers and packaging machines you see in a grocery store. These are in the big plants that make, hundreds of millions of pounds of product every year. And they're big. They're big pieces of equipment. So we put them on.
We're talking could take up multiple blocks, city blocks, right?
Yeah. Think of well, let's just take a bacon, making bacon. If you bought a pound of bacon, a package of bacon at the grocery store, and it has that little card in it with the little flap over the top of it, that's a pound of bacon. We have a machine, a full line, that'll make 70 packages of those a minute. And you think about running that 2 shifts a day, 16 hours a day, that's a lot of pounds of bacon. But that line to do that is about 60 feet long plus your secondary packaging. So you might be 100 feet long. So that's a long, long line. And so we put them on a boat and we ship it all over here. And then we set them up in our facility here and do all the factory acceptance and all the center lining and all that. And then we'll go install those and train our customers and get them put into the plants. So it's a big process. And it takes some time. But we've just got to stay committed to that whole value stream with our customers, and just understand what their needs are and manage their time. And as things change, we've got to be able to adapt to that. And this customer I was just talking with a little bit ago, we were talking about this line that it was 10% when it shipped, but now it's 15%. And so they called and said, what are you going to do about this? What are we going to do about this? How do we handle this? We had a great conversation about tariff impact and the things that we're doing in our company to mitigate that. And whether you are for this administration or against this administration, you said it earlier, it really doesn't matter. This is what it is. And so we have to deal with the facts. And we talked about how we're addressing those in our business. And, I think Trump is, wanting to bring more business stateside, wanting people to invest in America and do that. And our company is no different. We are going to continue to invest more in the United States. So what the Trump administration is doing is we're going to continue to invest here. And that will also help us with some of the tariff mitigation. And that's what he was doing by design. So we're doing those things and being transparent with our customers, having great conversations well in advance to let them know what's going on, because we value that partnership and relationship, and transparency and good communication, and staying focused on how we both stay successful will help us navigate these headwaters, just like we did with COVID years ago. And I think that's a real key to great partnerships, whether it's in the food space or anything, running an operation and an organization, making those adjustments and being able to focus on how do we keep winning and how do we, keep our company successful. I think that's part of the key disciplines that you've got to have.
There's so much discipline in this too. I mean, I think your business is, I always say not everything needs to be related back to baseball, but I think your business is so much more, say, like baseball than football, meaning that it's about the long game. I mean, there's nothing quick in your industry when you're talking about a month, on a boat overseas. We're talking about equipment that is not made overnight. We're talking about the process of bringing it over here, examining it, testing it, then disassembling it, packaging it, sending it off, training. And if I remember correctly, I mean, you were telling me that we're talking like 12 to 18 or so months for a lot of that stuff. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
For the time we put it in, that germination period from the start of a project is about that. So it's a long period just to get to that space. And
I know that
our product and our equipment, they'll be in a customer's plants for 20 to 25 years. And so when we talk long game, Joel, it's perfect there, because we also have to think about when things are coming end of life, how do we start having the conversation with the customer about, hey, listen, this machine's it's 25 years old and the parts are becoming obsolete, right? They're at some point we're going to run out, and we start those conversations years in advance to start the planning, so these people, our customers, can plan for the expenditures. But you've got to see the whole window, and you've got to keep your eye on the long game while you're playing every day. Yeah.
I mean, that's so interesting because the cycle continues, right? And because it's such a long game, we're talking about equipment, machinery, technology here, which also is continuously evolving. And so whenever that period ends and the next one comes out, they're going to be getting something that's completely different than what they had the first time, or at least there'll be new bells and whistles. But this isn't like getting a new iPhone every couple of years and getting an update. This is probably more like buying a house. I mean, we're talking about equipment that's 7 figures and a huge investment, and one that they know is going to pay off, but you just don't wake up today and say, hey, let's go get another one of those things. And I'm just curious, especially across different cultures at times, different customs, across different parts of the country or the world, what the key is in terms of the communication and being successful, being all on the same page and having those expectations.
For us, we are, and I stated it earlier when Mr. Weber, Tobias said, we're a data-driven company. We measure everything. So we look at that relationship empirically as well as from a relationship standpoint and having conversations, but we're always trying to pay attention to what's going on with our business and with our customers. And so we have to stay connected and stay in conversation and use real solid information to help us make good decisions. The thing I love about baseball over football, and I like football, but you measure baseball to 3 decimal points. I mean, it is an empirical game. It's a game of winning by tenths. You play it for so long, and you measure all the different stats to determine how to put the winning roster together, and how to draft, and how to ultimately compensate your players, and all those things. We measure everything down to a really infinitesimal point as well, because we're talking about yield and throughput and spend on parts and these types of things, and percentage and baselining. And we want to make sure that we're paying attention to our customers' business, even when they're not. And I did steal something from football. Actually, I did. My COO years ago came up with this, and we call it the PPR, the perfect portion rating. And it's kind of modeled after the quarterback rating, the QBR, where we take all these different data points and we distill it down to one number. And that kind of tells us what that relationship is doing right now. And we have different level, it's a 1 to 10 scale. And based on where that number is, kind of tells us what we need to be doing. And so we start looking at where the misses are in those details. And then we can drill down into that data that helps us say, we need to go investigate, spend more time here. Because this is where, maybe we aren't holding up our end of the bargain, but we can see that and hold ourselves accountable to help their business drive through. And I think doing that daily and understanding where that is and executing our strategy every single day keeps us winning that relationship and that confidence with the customer. And as their business changes, being able to adapt with them, that over the long run, as their business grows, they want to do more business with us because we're a great partner and we take care of them. And ultimately, if we do that, if we win every day for them, because we're paying attention and we're putting in the work, and we're all the challenges that come, we're able to mitigate those, but we're measuring it and we're holding ourselves accountable. Over time, we build that trust and that reliability, and they go, that's a good partner. Those guys, the switching cost to go somewhere else, even though someone else's machine might cost less money, our overall cost of doing business is going to be less with a better experience with these guys, because they get us and they have taken care of us for so long, so that when it comes time to 25 years to replace that piece of equipment, we're the guys they go with because we've earned it.
Yeah. And that never stops.
Never.
Right?
Never.
That's called trust, among many other topics. And it's why I believe it's the greatest currency in business and life. If you foster that trust and continue to make it a focus, you maintain that business, you maintain the relationships, on and on. It's what makes the world go round. I want to hit you with my baseball themed questions for you, professionally, career-wise, at Weber, whatever it might be. What's the biggest home run that you've hit?
Wow. I when we talked, you stuck that in my mind a while back, and I've thought about it. And when I think about my biggest personal home run, I think it was a decision I made years ago. And I was in the crane business at the time. We were building cranes, and I was driving down the road with at the time, one of my best friends. We were working together, and it was Friday afternoon, hot. It was in Texas. We were south of Fort Worth, and I grew up in Texas. But we were down there, and it was time to hang it up for the week. We had a long week on the road in a crane, and we looked out the window, and there was this yard full of equipment and cranes and everything. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we pulled off the highway and drove over there and drove right up to the front of the building and walked in. And I asked the receptionist, I said, who's in charge of your capital equipment purchases? And she told me the name. This gentleman's name was Cliff, by the way. And I said, well, tell Cliff his new crane's here. It's sitting out front. And she went and got this guy. It's like 3:00 on Friday. I was surprised he was still there. And he walked out and he said, I didn't order this. And I said, Cliff, you haven't yet, but once you see it, this is going to change your life. And it did. And it set my career on a path because it led me into furthering my career just by taking that initiative. And I think that home run for me was, man, when you put in the week, you've done the work, but there's still an opportunity. There's still one more at bat that you could take. And that one more at bat might win the game. And so for me, that was a lesson that I learned by doing, and that I've just kind of kept in my gut forever. That's just, you got to keep grinding it. It's that one more little bit of effort, that one more at bat, one more swing, get on base. You might hit one guy in, you might hit a grand slam, but you're advancing the game and your chances for success. And I've kind of leaned on that ever since that time back in West Texas on a hot August day, to just stay in it. And so I think for me, that served me well for a long time. And I keep practicing that throughout my career.
Yeah, I love that. And it just reminds me, we were having a discussion the other day, Ryan Lefevre, our play-by-play guy, me and Vinny Pasquantino, we were just kind of asking about, he seems to do really well late in the games. You know, we want to talk about who's clutch and who's not, and is that a thing or not? And he's had a ton of success in the 7th inning or later. And he said something about, there's something about having that last at bat that, you know, that you have one more crack, that it's your last one for the night, and that maybe it gets, now for others it might be the opposite, but in his mind, this gets all the rest of the focus that you have, that there is no more long game at that point until the next day. So it's a psychology thing there. That just, my mind went there because we had that discussion. How about a swing and a miss along the way, and what did you learn from it?
You know, I think what Babe Ruth was a home run leader and the strikeout king the same year. You know, he had more strikeouts, swing and a misses. Joel, I've got such a list of swings and misses that it's hard to quantify what's a big one. I can give you a recent one, but I'll tell you, I am always swinging, and I'm going to be calculated. I'm going to put in the batting practice. I'm going to be educated. I'm going to read the scouting report on the pitcher. Probably wouldn't dig in against Randy Johnson, but I'm going to get up there and make sure I'm getting my licks in all the time. With Weber, I've been so fortunate to work for Tobias and the team that we have over there, Jörg Schmeiser and Mr. Weber, Tobias's father, and Matthias Dolfer before him. They've given me a lot of opportunity here to understand the market and to make some bets and invest and do some developments. And I've done that, and we've done our homework, and we've dug in, and I've made a couple of bets on where I think some things were going to go, and we've developed some technologies for that, and they haven't hit yet. You know, I'm in the 8th. I've had 3 at bats, and I've struck out 3 times, but the game's not over. Yep. So, you know, if we could put some runs up, I can still get back around. And I really think a couple of these have just been a timing thing with the markets and the uncertainty and some of those things going right now. I know that the math is right, and that the consumption is right, and that the timing is right in a couple of these applications. I think it's just timing. And so I bet that it would happen sooner rather than later. And so that's a miss for me. I still believe it's coming in, and I know we're going to win the long game. So it's okay if I don't win, you know, if I don't sweep the Cardinals, as long as I beat them in the playoffs, I'm fine, or beat them in the series, whatever. It's okay if I drop a game or two. I'm going to stay in the game, and I'm going to keep playing.
Love it. Never stops, right? And you never know when you're going to hit that home run or that hit or whatever it might be if we're using the baseball references. All right, one more, small ball. And I know that's really important to you. I know what a focus is. It is over there, your culture. I saw it every step that I took throughout that whole facility. What is small ball to you?
It is absolutely that. It's all the little things that you have to do. You've got to put the work in, but you've got to be willing to not have the big one win. You've got to win every little transaction, every opportunity that you have from the very beginning of, we're calling it the game, the relationship, the partnership. Every step along the way matters, and you've got to win it. And for us, we measure it all, and we have a plan for everything. The minute someone walks in our front door, we have a program and a plan for how to treat them based on if they've been here before or not, on how the tour goes, on who greets them, on how we run demonstrations, on how we run meetings, on how we follow up. Our sales guys have a structured plan on how we do things. Our project managers, our aftermarket team, our engineers, every little thing we have really down to, I don't want to say a science, but an understanding of how it all links together for that overall customer experience, because that's what we really are about. Is about making sure that we're taking care of all their needs and understanding it, but giving them a great experience when we get to enjoy their presence. Because we want to hang out with people that we like, that want to have fun and want to be a part of our culture. We want to be a part of theirs. So we sometimes are going to manufacture that environment to get that creative element and build that relationship. Sometimes they take a little time to start and get going. But if we subscribe to that notion that our customers are the most important thing to us and we want to love them like family, when you think about that, man, you always have the house ready when your relatives come. Clean sheets on the bed, the favorite drinks in the refrigerator, right? You're going to have the best meal. You're going to do all the fun stuff, and the kids are going to build these great memories. And if we build our company thinking like that and want to bring our customers into our family, then we've got to be prepared and think about doing the things that make a difference for them. And those are the small things. And you got to do them every single time. And you got to get really damn good at them so that you can win that long game. And that's what we do. We just win every single day and try and get up at every at bat and get it in play. I don't need the home run.
Yep.
Don't need the home run. We talked the other day, and I loved the analogy about getting that runner from second to third, and how instrumental and clutch that is. You got to make those plays work every day.
Yeah.
And that's what we focus on in our business as well.
Understanding the situation and what it calls for. And that comes from a lot of experience. That's why you go in the baseball case and go get veterans that may not have the same superstar stats as the young stud, but they know they have that life experience. So that brings me to my 4 final questions, 4 quickies. And we'll start with really the topic that you were just ending on with small ball, because I'll give you my experience, or you already know it. But we're walking through one of the hallways there and over at Weber, and I look and I see a bunch of pictures on the wall. I go, oh, look, that's right next to where I do my reports. That's the dugout suite. And you said, well, and I don't even know if you knew it was going to be there or not, but you recognized it right away. Or maybe you did, but you said, oh, that's not by accident. That's there. And tomorrow, with whatever guest we have coming in, there'll be something different there. And so there's an attention to detail that, without me even realizing it, I looked and it caught my eye, and that was all by design. It led to a feeling too. Just quick question: how important is that, not just for you, but to understand or to know that the people that are working for you and the people that are working for them are going to be thinking that way as well? It's
for us, it's everything. Everyone has to understand the role and the position they play in our business, and they all have an impact on our customer, which is why if you're the first time here, you get a red lanyard. If you've been here before, you get a blue lanyard. It's a visual cue for our entire company to know if there's someone new, to go up and say hello to them and introduce yourself to them, right? And it's not, 100 people coming, but if you have an opportunity, this is one you specifically want to go up and introduce yourself to. It's those types of details. It's also, we talk about, when we do that, folks understanding the difference between role and function. and title. So when someone says, "What do you do here?" I'm a project manager. No, that's your title. But what do you do here? When someone says, "Hey, I'm Jarrod McCarroll. What do you do here?" If I'm a project manager and I say I'm a project manager, they go, "Okay, great. I know what you are." But that's not what we say. Our folks will say, "I'm here to ensure that we get it right from the beginning to the very end and ensure that we're making a successful transition into whatever solution we're going to put in there at the absolute lowest cost and the best way to get you to profitability and reaching your goals. That's my job. That's what I'm here. I am your insurance policy." And people go, "Really? Wow. Okay." Now I could have said I'm a project manager, right? But it's those types of details and that attention that we have that I believe make an impact on our customers. Even those little visual cues like the picture that you saw. And we have a bunch up for customers coming in tomorrow that has their business and folks that they know as well.
That's really interesting. I mean, when I always tell people when somebody asks you what you do and you say, "Well, I'm just the," I'm like, "No, there's no just the, you have an important role or you wouldn't be there." It'd be easy for me to say. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, you're with the Royals? Wait, so you're one of the players?" And my first response is, "Look at me. I'm 53 years old. No, I'm not. And no, I never was." But then, okay, that's not as big of a deal, my role, as some superstar slugger or whatever. I could say, "Oh no, I'm just the broadcaster." Well, the camera person might say, "I'm not the broadcaster. I'm just the camera," or whatever it is. That could go on and on and on, and whatever your role. But no, as you say that, I sit there and think, "Well, what do you do?" Well, I'm the guy that brings fans closer to the action. I'm the guy that brings you on the inside. I'm the guy that brings you closer to the players and shares those personalities and gives you a front row seat. That's different than I'm the broadcaster, right? Yeah. Here's what I do and here's how I make a difference. So really interesting stuff.
Joe, I think it's the soulful connection between the entity and the person. You're adding the soul to the game. People, the game is an amazing game in and of itself. And I love playing the game and I love just baseball in general. But if you're just watching the game is one thing. But what you do is you bring the soul to it because you do give that inside look and the understanding and the backstories and all these things that people wouldn't get otherwise.
That's right.
And I think when you can do that and truly engage deeper with your audience, be that a customer or a fan, it makes it more enjoyable and something you want to recreate again or go back to. And so it's very similar in what you do and how you're bringing that soul into their life. And we want to try and do that as well.
It all resonates, and it's now why I love going and talking to audiences too, because we get to dig deeper and be able to really bring people places that can make them better. Okay, second question, as we round the bases, this is just a real simple layup for you. You got a favorite product that comes in your as a result of your slicing machines? What's your favorite, whether it's deli meat, whatever it is? I know you got something.
Hands down. It is Newski's bacon. NEUSKE''S, Newski's. You can only get it in Wisconsin. You can order it online. They do have an online store. But it is the most delicious bacon I've ever eaten. Okay. The story it's family owned. Tanya Newski is the president. Her dad, Bob, started it. It's a wonderful story about American opportunity and what they've done. And she's just an awesome lady, just period. But boy, their product, if you haven't had it, next time you travel up to Wisconsin, you've got to grab some and bring it back or figure out a way to have it there. It's fantastic. My hands down favorite, number one, top of the list.
Okay. I'm looking on a map right now to see where they're located because I haven't.
Wittenberg, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. It looks like pretty much due east of Wausau, a little bit southeast of there. So you're going to be well west of Green Bay. I had to look because I didn't know the town as I looked it up. But my first job in television was in Wausau, Wisconsin. So
there you go. You know that area.
I could have been there. I never got away from the smell of the paper mills up there, far enough away from that. But you want good cheese, good bacon, and all that, no doubt it's up there.
You bet.
Okay, third question. As we round the bases, what's the best part of going over to Germany, where the headquarters are? And then you host a lot of people here too, and that's got to be fun to be able to mix those cultures.
It really is. I love taking our customers to our plants, our factories. They are, you've heard, you could eat off the floors. We even referenced that earlier. You literally could. The technology, if you're going to make the best technology, you better use the best technology. And we do in our factories. And it is just, it's like where science meets wizardry. And that's what comes together. And it's just the coolest thing to see in the family atmosphere that we have, that Tobias and Mr. Weber have created, and our people. It's just neat. It's just a really great experience. And then it's surrounded by great beer and great German food. And it's just a really cool experience. So that connection with the history of our company, whether we're down in the middle of Germany in Hessen, or whether we're in Bavaria down south around Munich, or up north, we have 6 factories, all different regions, different types of beer and food and all that. But the cultures that we have is just so fun, and connecting those two is just great. And we build some great memories and experiences with our customers when we go over, and those tend to carry forward through the lifetime of our relationship. And it's something we fall back on, because we end up treating each other literally like brothers. Yeah. And if we're doing that, we're doing something right.
Cool stuff. Let's walk it off with this question, a little bit of a question on automation. I know you told me a lot of stuff, and it was in our research looking about creating the world's first and only fully automated sub sandwich lines capable of producing 65 million 12-inch sub sandwiches annually with minimal labor. What went into all of that, and then what type of opportunities does that present as you evolve and in terms of jobs?
So great question. This is really cool. One of our greatest, they're all great customers, but a big customer of ours, as sandwiches and convenience and meal assembly and snacking has become more commonplace, and really becoming what people are moving to. You don't see a lot of folks making dinners anymore, making sandwiches at home. They're grabbing it on the go. They're getting something. If they are making it at home, they want it already pre-sliced and they can do something quick, because I think after COVID, everybody's like, man, I'm getting the hell out of here. I want to be outside. I've got stuff to do. I've got my kids invested in everything again, or I'm taking more time out doing this, but I want my life back. And so these convenience meals and snacking have really gotten hot out there. And several years ago, a customer came to us and said, is it possible to make these 12-inch sub sandwiches without hardly any people? How do we have a very food safe environment? But with COVID right there, people were hard to find. And so we had to figure out how to automate this. And so we spent almost 3 years in the design of this solution, and have created it, and have several of these solutions out there making these sandwiches that are in grocery stores that you can see that are pre-made, and you can grab them right there, and they've got, they're healthy and they're safe. And, it serves the needs of taking the deli out of the back of the grocery stores, making them in a very clean, food safe plant, and give them an affordable sandwich that they can get while they're transitioning from, work to soccer or football or dance or ballet or whatever it might be. And we were able to create that and not displace workers, because workers in the plants have become really hard to find. So it had to basically be a substitute, because everybody else needed to go work on other things in the plant. So that was a really cool piece of automation. We love showing the videos on that. You can go on our website and see it. But it was a super cool, and we continue to invest in things like that our customers bring to us. They bring us these types of challenges. and say, how can we do this? Create this type of a ready meal or a snack tray or a sandwich or a breakfast sandwich. And how do we do these at a high rate of speed? Because America's consumption rate is growing and we have more people here today than we did before. And so we've got to continue to feed everyone. And how can we do basically more with less? And so that's the fun part of working close with customers and being early up front on these kind of early adoption type innovations. And it's a great part of what we get to do together with them. So thanks.
The website's us.weberweb.com, I believe. us.weberweb.com. And right there on the front, Weber Solutions, your needs drive our innovation. That would be a 10-second way to summarize all of this up at the end of a really great conversation about culture, technology, innovation, teamwork, people, and everything else that is so important to Weber. Jarrod, I really appreciate you spending time today. Exactly what I was hoping and expected. Just a conversation like we had right where you're sitting in person that we can bring to everybody that's listening to the podcast. Keep up the great work, all of your people over there, and thanks for spending time on Rounding the Bases.
Joel, thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
It's around the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.